Hello, everybody. Today's segment, I'd like to talk about how to really get a hold of your executive summary and your pitch. Now, a lot of people that are just starting out might ask themselves, well, why do I need this? Why do I need an executive summary? You'll find that a lot of things happen when it goes from in your head to on a piece of paper or just kind of saying it out loud. And you'll realize, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. It sounded good in my head, but when I wrote it down or when I put it on a PowerPoint presentation or I presented it to potential investors, that kind of didn't make a lot of sense. So it's always good to write it down or to say it out loud to somebody so they can kind of give you feedback before you do that. You actually present to actual people. Just because when you present to people with money or with cloud, you normally get usually one chance. And these are the people with the money, with the cloud, with whatever they have that you need. And they're busy people. And the worst part is they know they have the money. They know they have the cloud to get you to go in places or doing what you want to do. And usually you have one shot. So really just kind of make sure you nail down, make sure you get that pitch right and that executive summary. So what I recommend is to write down on a piece of paper your mission. What is your mission? What is your problem you want to solve? And because like I said, when it's in your head, I had this great idea and I want to, we'll do whatever. But when you write it down, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And ask some people in the industry or ask maybe your target market, hey, what would you think if I try to solve this problem for you? And get feedback from them. And just kind of, we were created with 2 ears and one mouth for a reason, to do more listening than talking. So just kind of make sure you kind of put it out there and kind of get some feedback and make sure you're with it. And then also, with that as well, is make sure there's a passion amongst the people, yourself, of course. Make sure you actually want to do it. And just even your management team. Hey, are they excited about doing it? Are they just kind of, riding the dial tone to 5, or are they riding the dial tone to 5 o'clock? Are they just mailing it in, so to speak? And if that's the case, well, you need to kind of maybe rethink things. Another thing is that, even if your product is exactly the same, you always want to differentiate yourself. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately, amongst, if there's a million products in the industry, you have to think even harder as far as how to differentiate yourself. I mean, do they have access to the owner's cell phone? So if they need a product fix or they need, things done, fax, phone, email, you name it. Can they get help after hours? I mean, make them feel special. Your goal is to not make yourself feel good, but make to other customers feel good. That's kind of the goal. And then also as well is what kind of market opportunity do you see? If you see a large market opportunity, go for it. Another thing I'd recommend is to make sure you have technology and proprietary innovation edge. And that's really by any means necessary. What I mean by that is you really need to differentiate yourself. You need to make your product to use easy and not difficult. And don't make it, they have to call you and they have to get a text and they have to get an email and they have to go down there in person to the service center or wherever it is they go. Make things easy. Make the buying of your product easy and the use of your product easy. Next, just kind of convey the competitive landscape and see what your competitors are doing that maybe you can kind of take advantage of, or maybe you can do better on, and find their shortcomings. That's where you really kind of can learn to differentiate yourselves in that, and nailing that executive summary. Because, there may be hundreds and thousands of competitors in your industry. You have to make yourself different. You have to solve that problem. And, one of the things I would do is they're going to ask you to come up with some financials. And it doesn't have to be a 500-page financials. It's kind of, here's the projections we have, here's the expenses we have, and make them believable. Don't the first year we're going to make $20 billion. And that's very rare. Be conservative and, but show promise, obviously, in your projections. Next is, try to get some early traction. Try to get some buzz amongst the industry. How are you going to grab people's attention or customers' attention for that matter? If you want to be like everyone else, you do like everyone else does. And if you want to be different, you have to think different. To do that, you have to do anything you can. How am I going to get your attention? How am I going to show that wow factor? And in nailing your executive summary, that's very important. People look for things. I can tell you that investors or even people with clout, they look for things that pop. And how are you going to pop? And if you just, like I said, you got to create something different. You got to, and even if it is the same thing in the back of your head, I'm going to do like a million of my competitors doing, and I'm going to, do what it takes to make it. But you have to differentiate yourself. You have to pop, so to speak. So just kind of remember that, and then just kind of see what other people are doing to do so. But a little bit about us. We have, myself and my partner, we have a bookkeeping business, a little bit over 15 years in the industry, small to medium-sized businesses. So, you name it, we've seen it. Check us out, metrobookkeeping.com right there, www.metroacc. Like us, love us, want some more of us, like and subscribe for more. Until next time.